and I can't help but have a little grimace of laughter within. Just seeing everybody who's all of a sudden calling for it's over. We topped out in January. That was the top in this. Like, where were these people back in December telling you not to fucking buy all this junk, right? If we topped out and tell you to take your profit. Oh, wait a minute, I did. I told you that. Now, when I tell you, don't miss out on what's about to happen and have all this money stacked to the side so you can buy these historic for the alt season and set yourself in properly. I had a record amount of cash on hand for this time in a cycle just prior to that drop, as you all know, because I was out of almost everything aside from certain things you know about with X. But let's not even get into that. The bottom line is that when the whole damn sector was screaming, there's nothing it can do but go up, you heard my voice say, it's going down. We need to clear that gap at $1.50. We can't go anywhere else but there for XRP. Otherwise, we're never going to get to these new levels until that's cleared. We cleared that out and then some. So now we have that drop. We bought that drop at the historic drop, nonetheless. We cleared out a historic amount of liquidity. We cleared out gaps on some tokens that have been around for years and years and years in the altcoin sector. And now the overwhelming majority of these same people that told you it was a can't miss before, it's a can't miss now, when it was elevated, way elevated. These are the same people that are telling you now, don't buy that big drop. It's over. We've now topped out in December. Like, where the hell were you at in December when I was saying this in January? So now after it comes down 80% in some cases, you want me to expect oh, now we've topped in December? Oh, thanks a lot, asshole. Thanks for coming out after a historic crypto crash and now confusing your audience when we're in fear, oversold, in a lot of cases in the weekly time frame now in the stochastic. Like, oversold in the weekly. The complete opposite of where you should be selling. And now they're telling you it's over. I have never been happier in my entire time doing crypto than I am at this very moment. I've never been happier. Please, everybody, tell me you're not buying. Please tell me all these influencers that are telling you the top is in. Oh, I'm going to lose sleep over what BCB said. And that's about as far as I'm going to go into that. Like, come on now. So you have that little respect for me to all of a sudden waver because of what somebody else is saying? What about what I'm saying? What about what I'm telling you not to strife? I mean, we are where we're at. I guess it doesn't matter what I do personally. I'm always going to be compared to somebody who gets it wrong 99 out of 100 times. It's unbelievable. Good morning. 10:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And that doesn't mean the market's going straight up. What it means, though, everybody's calling October. It has never been and will never be October. All October ever has been, it gets tricked into being called October. Why? Because the price has such volatile drops in October that the entire month it almost looks green because it's pulling its head out of its ass the entire month trying to get back to even and maybe a small gain by the end of October as we get into November. September has never been a green month. Despite what every influencer and every person on the news tells you all through September, I'm the voice of reason. I said all September, we're not green in September. It's the most bearish 2-month stretch we're in right now. The only good news about October is when you get to the latter half of it, you start to see the pumpkins everywhere, and you know that all of a sudden we could be starting to reverse our fortunes. So we're not there yet, though. I keep saying first or second week of November. I've been saying it since January. It's the same cycle every single time when this happens. And you can legitimately go back 1 year and look at it. But when you break out of a pattern formation, and let me tell you, if it does break down here, and it's over. No, it's over. It would be over to down to 10 cents for XRP if this was the case. Do you see anything other than well, what do you see setting up there? I mean, I'll wait. After 7 years, does that look like a cup and handle formed? Like, how do we all of a sudden lose our ability to do technical analysis? Does that look like a completed pattern? Does that look like a first layer setup for something going up to approximately 549 to 638, which I would bet we're going to hit around that 638 mark? I just don't understand. Look how oversold we're on the... It's over. Oh my God, it's over. I'm not... Look at the weekly. I've been waiting for 3 months for the weekly to be oversold like this. And God bless us in this community for being here every single day and not caring what everybody else says and getting liquid before that big dump. And that doesn't mean I told you to sell your XRP from 34 cents. We had 2 bags of XRP and 1 is already gone. The one we bought at 38 cents we sold. Maybe some of you didn't, but I did. That's why I bought the extra bag when I didn't know it was going to come down there. And it did last year, right before the jump up, like 2 months prior. And we made huge profit plus $3 and plus, almost a 370. But the opportunity that was sitting there, and I've showed the example, some people are like, he's full of shit. And I don't like to gloat. I just show one thing. I don't need to show every single one that I did it with, but I show one to show credibility to somebody who might have come in. This is the overwhelming. I love IOTA. I was holding IOTA, building into IOTA even deeper. Was at 40,000 tokens and something wasn't right on the chart. So I sold it on the day of the crash at 11:28 a.m. 40,000 tokens at 17.4 cents. 7 hours and 8 minutes later, I believe, no, 8 minutes, or I think it was 8 hours or so later. It was at 8.59 cents when I was able to get it filled. And I turned it into 80, and but that's because watching it every day, I didn't know it was going to do it like that. I thought it was going to take a series of days or weeks as we built into November. I had no idea, nor could anybody know that it would drop that much that quick. We knew it was going to drop to the levels it did because we had the broadening wedge out. And I even put a post out just minutes, well, I think it was about 45 minutes before that. And the best way I can show it is on Facebook. And this is a good way for me to promote myself. So you also look at me on Facebook as we're getting close to 8,000 viewers, even though they won't recommend me because they say that I've done bad stuff apparently because of the way I talk. I just think it's because when you tell the truth and you help people, that's what happens. But I put out a lot of content you won't even see on YouTube because at least on Facebook, when I do the text post, I can do it like this. But on YouTube, it's not easy to do that. So make sure you watch me on all platforms. I put so much stuff on here. It's actually pretty insane how much stuff I started to put on here. Where are we at? We got to go back. What are we? We had so much stuff going on that we got to go back farther. But the bottom line is don't panic. Don't panic when the fear is where it's at. And we haven't even talked about gold and silver yet, have we? But don't talk about the fear. I was putting this out before the big drop. Remember the liquidity zones? Remember the liquidity zones? So I put these out before the big drops. So now we're on the 8th. And we kept harping on it for this entire time. Let's see, where are we at? 8th. I think it was on the 10th we dropped. That was Fink. So much stuff we put out. Maybe I skipped it again. Maybe I should have just went to photos. Oh, right here. Oh, now it's frozen, are we? Oh, here we go. What the hell is going on here, Facebook? I guess it doesn't want you guys to see. I told you, Facebook is interesting. What the hell is going on? Okay, well, I guess you won't see that there because Facebook is... What the hell? I'm glad everybody gets to see this in real time. Did I mention Facebook is weird? Very weird. That's funny. Apparently it doesn't want you guys to see that. I would have thought that it would have just opened up right away. Yeah, it doesn't want you to see that. Look at that. Ah, that's so funny. I can't say I'm surprised here. I can do my deal. I'm kind of talking here, and then the ones who will and please follow me on Facebook. It's got great technology, but no, just follow me here. There's a lot of information that you can get here out of me. I just share it. It's just what I do. I got a lot of things to say. I have a lot of things I always have to say. But there's a point I'm showing this because you can stay in the loop even outside of YouTube if I can't get on. You know, like to do a live. I like to do lives. Notice I don't do updates anymore. I just straight live. It's just lives all the time now. And then I do my shorts and like the S&P and everything still with. There's a lot of good still within. I mean, and things I'm following. But here it is. This was XRP destined for $1.34 in broadening wedge. And I said XRP holders, but this was moments before the drop. And I put this in the Telegram. We talked about it on here in the morning live. And this was after the futures market closed, as it started to pull up. Oh, what the hell? Anyhow, I put that out moments before, and I put it in the Telegram. And then it was one of those things that you sit there and you go, oh my God. And I was in Grand Rapids. Like, that's the thing. Like, I was doing all of this from my car when I put that out. Because we were driving. My son has a G-tube, and we have to go every 3 months to make sure everything's good. Get his tubing changed and things like that. And just make sure the sizing and his overall health is good for... Anyhow. So... it was just one of those things. I had all this time in the car, and it was like, at that exact moment, it was like, uh-oh. And, like, now we filled it. I don't understand why everybody's so mad. And so, like, I know we can still melt down. I know we can fill this out. But do you know how oversold, if we happen to fill this wick out, we would actually be? And I don't even know if we're going to fill that wick out, honestly. Because that looks like a bull flag could be forming here as well. Now, that doesn't mean it can't come down here to liquidate some. But what it means is that's a structure that's actually built there, and it's kind of interesting because it almost looks like a bullish pennant. And a bullish pennant's in the pattern consolidation described by lower highs and higher lows simultaneously until you hit the conjecture or the breakout point. So lower highs clearly in there. Higher lows clearly, I believe, is in here because if you go from here, you got a higher low, and then it basically goes, what breaks out first? You make a higher high or a lower low now? And we're going to find out together. So, the way it's set up, I wouldn't be surprised if it fell out first and then rotated out and then formed instead of like a pennant, more like I would almost think more like something like, how would it make sense? Let's go to that stationary, how it has it, kind of like this. So maybe if it fell out, it's given us the evidence of those first two wick taps. So we'll see. We'll see. Because I could certainly see this scenario playing out where it comes down to that 228 range and then tries to fill this out. But I'm telling you right now, that weekly time frame is what dreams are made of. You want that weekly oversold badly. And the monthly has come down too back into the neutral zone. Which, if this is a little inverse pattern that's setting up here, nice V-shaped recovery, back testing. We'll see if we hold this right here. It also back tests the prior levels. Now, if it falls straight through, maybe we get that next liquidity. But I don't believe we've topped. So, I don't believe I don't believe we're at the bottom. I mean, at the top. I don't. What's Epic Chain doing? Let's see. Somebody said, Sean, welcome in, my main man from Maine. At $1. It's consolidated back to that area twice. Let's see. I know it came because we talked yesterday about this point. See if it can hold 86.51. But we don't know. This could very well come back into the falling. Like for Epic, we don't know. This is in discovery. Or at least it was. And it's still trying to figure out exactly what its next move is. But like it still hasn't tested up here either. So I'd be a little surprised if it fell right all the way through without retesting those gaps that were left up there. That's a big gap up there that is actually left. And it didn't even come close. Like you're talking 146. We never went up to 170 and hit that either. There's a lot of potential here with the hidden divergence here with most of these across the board in the weeklies. So we'll see if that plays out or not. Obviously, gold pushing 4,200. It was briefly over as another story for us that hold it. And silver in the mining stocks. Gold's up $55 or 1.3% to 4,198 as we speak. Barrett Mining's up 2.34%, up over $34 a share. B2 Gold's up 3.93% on the day, up to $5.55. Silver's up 2.64%, adding $1.35 on the day, up to $52.77 an ounce. We've never seen this in our lifetime. Hell, in the history of silver, for that matter. Apparently, they don't want you to still see it. Pan America Silver's up 2.3%, up over $40 a share now, $40.45. It's reading some of these is just awesome because I remember when Barrett when we were buying at 14, 15, even put some in at 22. Smallest of the orders, but still, it was a couple thousand more. And now it's at 34. Pan America Silver is at 22 for so long, and 18 with that acquisition earlier in the year, not later. Now it's at 40 plus, unbelievable. First Majestic, 5.68% up. Now at $14.60. Believe it or not, has now overtaken Hecla Mining, which both are just on an unbelievable tear. First Majestic was sitting at $4.52 after their acquisition. And then it went up to, I remember when it had that one last drop down to $5.45 when Fortuna Silver Mines was at $5.25 that last drop. And now it's at $14.60 for First Majestic. Fortuna Silver Mines starting to get hot here. Up 5.5%, getting near that $10 mark now at $9.68. Massive move up. It was all the way down at $2.52. Heart of our buys were around $4.25. Some at $5.25 because it was just still dirt cheap. Hecla Mining up 7.52%. Remember, Hecla Mining is the single largest silver producer in the USA. It was sitting at $4.52 just a few short months ago. And they had earnings that were out the roof, and I just couldn't believe it. So I upped what I had, and now it's at $14.25. One of the silver linings here. Silver Corp Metals is up to $7.03, up 2.78%. That was sitting under $5 not too long ago. And they announced that they were buying up a very large amount of their available common shares because they thought the price was too cheap. Dolly Varden announced 13.2% of their float of their common shares just last week, guaranteed at minimum of $6.50. So why nobody was buying it at $4.40 when I keep saying this, or $4.50, or even yesterday at $4.60 and $4.70. Now it's at $4.90. I don't know, because fair market value suggests that it's minimum of $6.50, seeing that these institutions have agreed to buy it at that price. Some have agreed up to $9 and more, and they're working on having additional capital so that they can continue their further acquisitions that they've been. It's a diamond in the rough. So just pay attention to the silver miners. And I've been saying Dolly Varden the last week and a half since that dump down to $4.42 is the buy for the silver miners in that price range. So Silver Corp I love. It's still very they're all undervalued still. I know it sounds crazy with how much they've moved. They're still so undervalued. So as you have the uncertainty with crypto, I mean, there is sound money elsewhere. But crypto is going to do this up and down conjectural nonsense. I don't expect any significant movement Well, I mean, we could get significant, but I mean, like in a significant, oh, we're breaking past like for XRP up to 370 and out to make that next push. I don't expect any significant movement like that until, and we already got some news yesterday. Like, was Jerome Powell not speaking of the end of quantitative tightening as we know it and going into a quantitative easing cycle like we've never seen? Did Jerome Powell also, without saying it, tell you to buy everything but the dollar, do whatever you have to do to get out of it? Some of you were here watching it with me. We had about 150 people watching that with me together. And did we hear the same message? Like, he was legitimately telling you, buy everything but the dollar. He was telling us every reason why. So in my title today, I said, XRP time is running out. Historic alt season looms just weeks away, first or second week of November. And that's been my timeline for a long time now. That doesn't mean it's going to hit the peak in November. That means that we're going to start this movement in a direction we haven't seen in a while. And when I say alt season, a historic alt season, that doesn't mean all of these prices. Like, that doesn't mean IOTA goes from 15 cents all the way back up to the top in this cycle. No, that means there's going to be a large amount of capital that unsuspectedly flows in at a time when everybody is calling for the end of crypto, basically. And you're going to see such an injection of capital that your head is going to literally, I use this expression lightly, maybe more not so lightly now, but there will come a time, and you've already seen it once, we'll be picking our dicks off the floor. And I know for the ladies out there, it's not in that case, but you know, we'll be picking our souls off the floor for a minute. Not our souls, but our it's something deeper. We're going to be picking up our life and like our, if we can do it and we reach for it in this moment at the right time, and you had one right time already. Now to say it's the right time when some of these have bounced back 100%, I can't say that because I don't know what kind of liquidity tug we're going back down, but there was a right time. And that wick is what dreams are made of. It didn't fall out of the pattern. It didn't invalidate anything. In fact, it reaffirmed what we've been looking at, and it actually made it more solid, so we didn't have to go from a weak push here. Even though you can, because it makes sense to go like this, so you can try to see some kind of weird floor if it doesn't completely fall out. You know, so I think I like it like that because then it tapped and the craziest thing about this for IOTA, and it's that it formed the all-time uptrend now in a real way. It's just, that's why I keep saying, if this falls out now and you break lows, just get ready. Get ready for the biggest crypto winner you have ever seen in your life. Because if it falls out of this and invalidates what it just built and builds a newer low, it's going to invalidate a structure that goes, and this is just for IOTA, and that would be across the board. It's going to invalidate something. So if you think if you think the peak's in, crypto's done as you know it. You will never see the kind of gains you've seen before because of regulations that are set to take place in 28. So you better hope that for once all these people aren't right. Because usually when they move in unity, they're wrong. And that doesn't mean, because I still think Bitcoin can come to 91K or 92K with that rising wedge, but we're not dependent on Bitcoin. What we're dependent on, and this is the message that is missed too by a lot, Bitcoin shouldn't be what's controlling us right now. It should be Ethereum, not Bitcoin. What the hell is going on with this now? Now it's not even showing anything. But Bitcoin shouldn't be what's deciding it for us right now. It really shouldn't be. Whoops. I hate the new trading view. Oh, so now I'll put one up. What the hell? There we go. We'll see. We'll see. If this is the end, because, I mean, I don't even think it started yet, so I don't know how it can be the end. Even if it comes back down here to the uptrend, we already know that it could be a premature breakout. And it doesn't technically need to happen for a while. But if it's the end, of this cycle, it's going to be deeper and darker than anybody wants to acknowledge, and you are not going to be able to hold it through that drop at the end of this. So, no doubt in my mind, we still have to test before a break. And it looks like for XRP, it's telling us, what was that level? If it comes down here. Minimum, if it starts to drop, I think that 228 is a good point to start. And then if that doesn't, we have to deal with the $1.77 to $1.82 range. And we do it in unison. But if this breaks down as a whole, we're going to go retest what we haven't tested since 2010. 2020 when the lawsuit was announced. And that's that 10.2 cent range. That's why I overextended this breakout. But if that happens, it changes the whole complexion of what it just changes it all. This whole thing would be completely blown up. Everything that built for 7 years would be out the window. And if that's the case, well, unfortunately, we're going to have to be smart about it when it happens. But the point remains, that move was still there. If you want to sell out everything you made on that big drop, while everybody was sitting, fiddling their thumbs, trying to see what was going to happen, you can do that. In some cases, you're up over 1x, some are 50%. There's a lot of stuff way up. So you can make that educated decision. And I would never hold it against you because money is money, profit is profit. And everybody who told you that it wasn't going to come back up, they're sitting on the sidelines where you can cash out a nice chunk of change. Daily time frame and the interim being rejected right here by the 200-day is never a good sign. 4 hourly, definitely not a good sign. Because it definitely seems like it's going to come down here. I've been saying this since that bounced down. It can melt all the way back down on these charts. We can melt all the way back down. We don't want to melt all the way back down because we've already now held this double shot here. Ready? Resistance down to the bottom, back to the top, back to a flat bottom now. This is good. We like this because now we found some support. And if this is a wedge and it's broadening at the top at least, you need 2 hits on each side. So there's not a guarantee that it comes back into that zone. I'm very eager to watch this because there's going to be opportunities that are presented, and the more everybody is out, especially when it drops, when nobody is willing in retail to really buy, which is shocking because everybody was so willing to buy when it was at the $2.80, $3, and we'll use XRP as an example, $3.25, $3.50, but then they seen it at $1.30, $5, $45, $60, and they were afraid. It's like, are we really trying to buy XRP because we believe it's going way up, or are you just trying not to miss the boat? It's two completely different things. But I think crypto is an opportunity and a half. It's a risk asset. So I don't consider it a store of value. The only store of value is gold and silver. And I would still be loading up on silver right now in comparison to gold if you haven't started. Start with silver. The ratio, I believe, is 79 to 1 still this morning. Yeah, 79.5. But it's like I can't be mad even when crypto does go down or even when it does do that because I have my precious metals, my commodities, and mining stocks. That is my hedge against what's happening. So, and same with emerging markets, and they've been extremely volatile the last few days. Extremely volatile. But that's your hedge against what's going on in the U.S. I still, like, even with gold and silver, you're going to see a magnificent pullback. LAES had a substantial rally, and we've said, hey, missed that part of it, but now you got to wait for the consolidation. It's massively overbought in the weekly, massively overbought in the monthly. So, and it never cleared out any of these levels as it was coming up. So there's going to be a substantial pullback. I don't know where, but we'll see. I don't know if they'll give it all back, but it did come to the top of the pattern. We'll see if it breaks out. Technically, the breakout of this pattern, where's this apex? I want to say it gets you sometime next year. I think next year is going to be a huge market for this sector. Let me go over some comments. I think I went through everything I needed to. It was a good first half hour. I think I went through everything I really wanted to go through when what was on my mind. But it goes a little deeper than just, hey, it's over and we topped out in January. I was talking about that in January. But that doesn't mean the cycle's over. We topped back then. But now to start talking about that in October, I mean, I don't know. That doesn't do anybody any good. You got to talk about what's happening now. Like what's the potential here in this market? Not what you already missed in January. There was an opportunity to sell out huge back there. You know, and it's I like evidence sometimes. But I mean, if you go back, 9 months ago, I took a lot of heat for that video. I did a live and I took a lot of heat during that hour. You should watch that live. Everybody should. But it turned out to be the precise moment. Now, it's where is the precise moment? Well, I was convinced it wasn't when we were topped in this crypto market. But there was an opportunity and a half. Even if it was just a short trade, there was an opportunity and a half across the board. You could sell algo right now at 20. I think it got as low as 11 or 12. IOTA got as low as 7.9. Ethereum was down to 3,300. Bitcoin was at 101K. XRP, depending on exchange, well, Binance, the biggest crook of them all, was down to 78 cents or whatever. But on average, roughly $1.37-ish. One went to $1.18, one went to $1.61, one went to $1.37 on what I'm watching. One went to 80. XLM was down at, what was it, 20? I don't remember what XLM actually hit. It was a big wick down. 28 cents. So, I mean, there's a nice profit boost here. VGen was in the double zeros, believe it or not. Or at least close to it, depending on exchange. At 1 cent, we'll call it. And, like, if it was the fallout plan, like, yeah, I have these targets. If it goes way down, like 0 cents for VChain, that's why it's there. In case it absolutely went the worst case scenario. I hope what we just seen was the worst case scenario. But like I said, if this doesn't pan out, even what you thought was a good buy in the last bull market isn't a good buy. Our 34 cents will end up being a 66% loss if this doesn't pan out. I'm just telling you right now. And I've been preaching the same message, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we topped and the end of the world's happening. We've been preaching the possibility of the end of the world with the optimism that we still have to make this last push. And if we don't, it's going to be a very deep, dark crypto winter. And the only good news is we have so many profits from this cycle because we were smart and we didn't give it all back. Well, I can't speak for everybody else. I'm not a financial advisor, so I wouldn't try to. But I'm over the moon right now of what I'm seeing develop. One, because I see a lot of the optimism from influencers leaving. Thank you. We need that. We see the shoe salesman, the gas station attendant. They couldn't give a rat's ass anymore about crypto. You see on some of the tickers, you see Jim Cramer now came out a day ago or so and said, now is the time to rotate from crypto and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah into some other sector that's about to crash. So the fact he's saying that when he just said, what, a week or two ago to buy crypto, remember? He just came out a couple weeks ago and I said, oh, here's the nail in the coffin. We're definitely going to crash now. Like the guys, anyhow, fear and greed. I want to do the fear and greed and whoops. Fear. And then I'm going to go to liquidity map. And if you want to support my work, I do this all for free. I've been doing this since March 24th, 2021. Yesterday I did 3 lives. Most days I do 2 lives minimum. I also do a short. Today I think I did 2 for some reason already. 2 shorts. But you can join Tom's Army. You can send a YouTube super chat. You can donate gifted subs to show your support. But we're in fear. We're at 34. We're in fear. We are in fear. Last week, everybody, when it was in greed, was willing to buy at the prices much higher. This week, we're in fear and everybody says it's over. We've topped. I've never seen a cycle top when we were in fear, by the way. Have you? Honestly, have you ever seen us top a cycle in fear? I don't know. This would be historic indeed. This would be historic indeed. Now, how far in do we go to extreme fear? Because if we do come back and consolidate some of this, because, you know, we fill gaps each way. How far into fear does this actually slip? XRP heat liquidation map. So that's the 1 day. Let's go into the 1 week. Oh, and also, if you're looking for an exchange in the high times of volatility, I would feel remiss not to talk about this now. TOOBIT had no liquidity concerns. It was on 100% of the time. You were able to buy, sell, market, limit, anything in between, futures, leverage, spot, whatever you can think of, was unaffected. As you can see by my purchases of Epic and Algo and a few others. And then that's my honest take of what I would use. Now, I do have VX, which was also unaffected. A little more challenging to put the order in than on TOOBIT, but it was still able to be done at 8.6 something, 8.59 cents on IOTA. That was done on VX, and that's why I have VX specifically for IOTA. That's the only money I have on there is for IOTA, or should I say currency, or now tokens, which is now IOTA. So I encourage you to download, even if you don't do VX because you don't want IOTA, I encourage you to use TOOBIT. Those liquidity problems on other exchanges when they froze out, this one never flinched. It earned my respect so deeply during a liquidity crunch, and I know some of you use it. It was unbelievably accurate in how good it worked. So I'm blessed. I have 8,700 or 800 Epic now at 72 cents on average. On that drop, it's impossible to get it everywhere. Algo at 13 and some change. I think there was one more. I can never remember the other one that I picked up on there. But anyhow, it's not relevant. It can be relevant, but it's not relevant. But the liquidity in the weekly, we'll have to even make it a little bit bigger. But we got a lot more liquidity up on the top than down below. We're forming some because, you know, obviously with a big drop, you're going to get some longs taken out. But for a minute, we were being overpowered by shorts still. So it's interesting indeed. Okay, so I only have Algo and Epic on here right now. I forgot. Oh, no, and Linea, duh. I thought I had 200,000. See, I did even worse than I thought. 125,000. 0.0097, but that could have been so much better. But I was so damn enthralled with IOTA. I thought that order would fill the whole way, but it did not when I put it in. I seen it filled, and it was a partial fill, and then it never gave it another chance. Bastard. But XRP... pretty simple here. Is that a head and shoulders forming here? Or, I mean, because I would be, man, there is no liquidity down there. Is that for real? My God. That's what I mean. Look how much liquidity there's nothing. I got to go into the monthly. That is crazy. Or the 2 weekly first. But it throws me off every time I look at it now. Because there is no downside liquidity past certain, look at that. Look how small, like literally, what reason would we have to go down there right now? It would make more sense to take out the top side liquidity, and then if we're going to come down to it. There is no money down here. Look at have you ever seen the board cleared out like that, everybody? And welcome in, everybody. I apologize. I'm just going to continue to talk here. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Kyle Kupiak, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year since I put it over here. But the I told you so bad. It's Cape Cod. Kyle from Massachusetts says, listen to no other that T. Really simple. 4 years with Tom without a single doubt. Everyone just, oh yeah. And it's crazy if you've been here. And I'm not making things up. You can go back. We bought before the breakout in 21 when I started. I talked the top of 21. We got out. I called the bottom of 23. Not just that, I called the first retracement, the big one, to 52 cents on the money for XRP. Called the top of Bitcoin in the crypto market. We got the bottom of the crypto market in 23. I called the top in January of 25. I predicted the big flush before it happened. Just didn't know how quick it would happen, but it hit the exact numbers on the charts. So I don't think we've topped out yet. Obviously, there's always a time to be wrong, and it could be now. But I don't see it. The liquidity, there is none. I've never seen the liquidity this flushed, ever, in the history of doing the liquidity map. Ever. I've never seen this. There's no money for the market makers to come get now down below. That is not the story above. That is not the case above. There's lots of money now above. It's the only money there is now. They stole it. Literally, they stole from 1.8 million traders the way they did it. You see, even in the monthly. Guys, if it comes to $1.40, there's $413,000 in liquidity. This is unprecedented. I have never seen this. Mike says, my gut is telling me that I should not have eaten that last churrito last night on the Taco Tuesday food truck in the hood. I would suggest probably not. Although not all hood food trucks are bad. Some are good. But, you know, some are not. Anyhow, Kwame, welcome in, and Frankie Fresh, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor, being very, very, very in-depth with the community. I love it. And Frankie Fresh, give Janine my love, and I hope your hand is doing just ever so slightly, and you're getting just the smallest, marginal, fractional amount of more movement, and the pain is subsiding each day, because that's a big thing as well. And I know you still grind, so I respect the hell out of you, my friend. And I'm glad you're here. And I feel blessed that Janine is as well. It is? Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Frankie Fresh. I'm glad that it is improving, even at just the slightest margin each day is all we're looking for. But seriously, has anybody ever seen this? I'm being honest. I want to know. Have you guys ever seen this before with liquidity? I know he closed at B South. He closed it. I think that was a trap. That's what I was saying. I think that was a trap. I almost think that's a government account. But yeah, that short is closed now. At least the second one is closed now. But let's see if I can inject some good spirits into this audience. I know no one's donated, no one's joined Tom's Army, there's no gifted memberships, but I'm going to try to inject some good spirits into our audience. Because sometimes, you know, you got to inject the capital. So I'm going to inject the capital into my own life. And I'm, you know, we'll see what happens. Let's see. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Greatly, greatly appreciate that. Why didn't this update? Did it not show the gifted subs? What happened here? Did it show gifted subs on here and it's not showing me, or did it not show it at all? Did not show them. Interesting. Let's see. I don't know why it's not showing it. I purchased it, but it is not showing it. Good old YouTube. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know why it didn't go through and show it. I'm not sure. And it even says I can't do it again because I already did it. Interesting. I guess I won't be injecting capital, huh? YouTube really hates me, don't they, this morning? Now it'll show up way later like it did last time, which is stupid, but that's okay. The spirit is the spirit. I guess I'll have to go to my other account. Because I can't share it from my own. They won't let you for some reason. Which kind of defeats the purpose as well, but that's okay. Gotta love it. Anyhow, we won't let this stop us. I got other ways. There. I did it on my other account, so I'm just going to do it on my Dogecoin account. But this is from me. So, Edit, Taz, Poncho, and Papa, congrats on getting your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And Jeremy Groza, thanks for being in town on 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, and congratulations on your gifted sub. Awesome. Awesome indeed. So that's a thank you from me to you. But with the liquidity on XRP, I once again, I see that a lot of you are saying you have not seen this. That you have not seen this. Anna says, hi, Tom. Appreciate this live. I admit I came from following BCB, who has left me confused and scared. I really pray you are right. I will follow your lives from now on. Oh, wow. So, I mean, apparently, I don't watch them, but I know from just what people have posted in my comments and my videos. And then I seen some discussion in the Telegram after some of the comments as well, which I was mainly preaching about the comments and the videos that I've seen recently about BCB on my videos. And then I noticed in the Telegram, somebody had brought it up too. But I like the discussion in the Telegram because I like to see what everybody's going to say about it. So, never seen what, oh yeah, never seen this. Yeah, exactly, Rejuvenated. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Crypto Cooter, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor and being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. But yeah, I too have never seen this. I'm being honest. I have never seen this kind of liquidity clearance for XRP. Now, even for Bitcoin, like, there's nothing, even at not, like, there's nothing, guys. Now, yeah, is that a head and shoulders that should bring us down? It's like what we talked about for XRP. It could bring us down even to the, either that 228, 177 area. It all depends. Bitcoin, we very well could come down here and melt a little bit. But there's really no liquidity. I mean, I have never seen it this dried up. At this, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like they went for that liquidity for a reason. And yeah, it was to scare the shit out of us, but it was also to leave us battered and bruised and without any resource. Look at all the people that are without resource now. Even if they wanted to get in crypto, they got nothing left. Like, there's very minimal for Ethereum down here as well. We need to get out of these sections and start creating new power liquidity. It's really insane how dry we are right now. Below, XRP is the one that gets me too. It's so clear on XRP's chart. Well, Bitcoin's was really clear as well. Mr. and Mrs. G Stott, welcome in along with Jeremy. Thanks for being in Tom's on for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. What does that mean, Mrs. Stott? That means that when the market makers try to liquidate longs and shorts, there's no long traders to liquidate below. The only thing that are left now are short traders that are betting against the market now. So a good point for XRP, shorts have now amassed If it gets to $3.13, $117 million goes off the board and goes to goodbye land. Not to money heaven, because that doesn't exist. It goes into the exchange's pocket. At 314.4, there's another 124. At $3.07, there's 75 million. At 311, there's 89. And at every fractional margin, so there's over $1 billion of liquidity within probably the $3 up to about the 320 range. You're going to get $1 billion of liquidity from retail. Well, anybody who's leveraged. Now down here, you could go from $1.13 all the way up to $2.18, and you're not even going to get close to that with all of that liquidity. Well, you're not going to get close. With all that liquidity combined, it's not even going to be close to what you're going to get in that 20-cent move. Percentage of longs versus shorts right now. Let's see. No, I don't want to do it on this one. Long versus shorts. Crypto. It'll pull up the map I want, so I don't have to go all the way through. I don't know if I want to use the coin glass or coin ink. I like to pull up them both, but we'll go through them both. Let's see. I want the overall. I don't just want a few of them. Yeah, I want the other one. Well, this has them all, but I want to see it all. Short is definitely still overtaking it. It was at 52.48 or 51.49. But I think shorts are over. Look at this. Long versus shorts on the exchange, guys. 60% are going short on. And if you combine all exchanges that are on here, Binance, OKX, BitMEX, Bybit, Gate, Huobi, BitGet, DYDX, Deribit, Bitfinex, Kraken, Hyperliquid, Aster. On all of those exchanges, that's in the 5-minute. We need to go through the 12. Let's go to the 12 hourly and see if it's the same. So in the 12 hourly, it's pretty much 51% long, 49% short for Bitcoin. As you get smaller in the time frames, still long. If you go to 4 hour, but these are, I wish it was the other exchange and I wish it was overall. I don't like when it splits it up. I just want to know what's going on with crypto. Let's see, XRP. It's pretty split. There's not much separation. Let's go to the daily. Daily's almost 50-50. Yeah, there's no real separation here. Whoops. Shit. There's not a real separation there at all. Nah, there's not big separation at all here. Let's see how far we can go on this one. 24 hours. So, Bitcoin, there's a little more money in short right now. If you look at 24-hour on Bitcoin, there's more short trades right now than long. 49.3 to 50.6 on overall. Overall, there's, if you look at all these exchanges, because there's more than just what the other one showed us, it's not overwhelmingly, but it's more shorts than longs right now. Not by much. There's about $1 billion more in shorts than longs right now on Bitcoin. On Ethereum, more shorts than long, 51.3 to 48.6% if you average them all. On XRP, 51.2% short. 48.7% long. So there's more going short than long right now from a future standpoint in the 24-hour spectrum. Solana, we've got 51.2% going short, 48.7% going long. So pretty much what I've seen before. This is on coinglass.com. Just go on to Google and type in long versus short crypto, and then it'll come up. I like CoinGlass better because it uses more exchanges, but you can go through a lot of different ones. But I do like CoinGlass better than CoinInk because CoinGlass, because CoinInk only uses like 10 exchanges. This uses You know, the top, a decent amount of exchanges, 20 of them, your most influential ones. But I like to look at the 24-hour, not just the 4-hour, because I like to see what's going on throughout the day. So that's what's happening right now. So more shorts than longs, not by a crazy margin at all. They're split on what they think will happen. That's true. They're split on what you think will happen. Mr. Stott, yeah, on CoinGlass. But yeah, they're split. But the good news is that, and think about it, why would that second short have been closed? The person who predicted the big short, and he didn't close it for significant drop the first time. Ask yourself, why did he close it the second time? We don't know. And the other thing to couple this by is the fact that even though the shorts are outweighing the longs, which means if there's more shorts than long, by definition, wouldn't the market makers move to the up direction if it's warranted to liquidate those shorts if there's enough money up on the top side? I mean, there's a lot more liquidity to the top side. Let's just go into, there's just a lot more liquidity. Overall in the monthly, you can see it all that it's gone below. So it would make sense to liquidate the shorts even. I think more people are, the overall perception is short. Most people are in their mind are short. They're done with this bull season, even though it really hasn't started. And I talked about it, Calvin, and thanks for being in Tom's 6+ months with the XP Predictor. I talked about it when that first and then the second short was open. I said, yes, it could be just this person's the smartest person in the world, but he opened that wallet just before, and it was a new account that was open just before shorting. And I said, what if it was the government because they knew that they were going to make that money on the first short, and then they pulled out a second short to trick the masses, making the initial money. But then everybody's going to not pay attention and just say, oh, and now you haven't heard as much talk about the closure of it. But now that it's closed, what if that was just a government psyop? I completely think that's what happened. That's what was my interpretation when I first announced the short a couple days ago. And yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think the public appeal is dying down, but this is what you want. Just like, to couple this, the third ingredient would be the fear and greed index. Are we overbought or oversold in that? So are we greed, extreme greed, extreme fear, neutral? We're in fear and falling. We're getting closer and closer to extreme fear, believe it or not. So the perception's changing like we want it. You know, it's like we want it. So, but again, you're going to feel pain. We're all going to feel pain before the promise. So it's just what we're going to have to deal with. There's nothing more. There's not much we can do about that. For XRP, I would anticipate seeing how we react down here at 228-ish, as we've been talking about. And then if that falls through, we're talking about $1.77 to $1.82. And then that could extend down into this range. Some people are asking me about that $1.50 FVG. We've already filled that on this particular exchange. It didn't, but XRP cumulatively came down to $1.37 and is basically what's reported. I know Binance came to 80 cents or 78 cents, but the $1.50 gap was filled. So I'm not worried about that gap anymore. But if we do fall out, we fall out and we'll have to reassess because we already know if it falls out, we've got the lower target. We don't want that target. It would be a very big waste of what we did here for this season for XRP to not finish this off. But is it unheard of with XRP? No, it's very manipulated. So could it make us wait longer? Why not? It's made us wait since 2018 if you were sitting in it. Why not make you wait a little bit longer, right? So, but it's a cumulative thing. This isn't just XRP. It's not just crypto. You know, it's, well, it is crypto because it's a risk asset. But these are the most volatile times. This is when you have your capital ready, and if things fall out, you strike. in the proper spot. With the total crypto market cap, we never came down to 296, which is where I thought it could come down to before we had that drop. However, it didn't come down that far. So now now we get a more defined setup here, like what we were talking about before. Is this some kind of it's either a rising wedge in the total, or it's playing out as a rising triangle, which is two completely different things. A rising triangle is bullish. A rising wedge is bearish. But we have more evidence now, so look how much this could still fill out. And I'm going to delete a lot of this now. I told you we have to expand it when it's appropriate. It's appropriate now. Because now we've seen a little bit of the bounce back, and now it's absolutely vital for us to stay ahead, so we know the potential of this move coming, depending on direction. 4.37 if it does it by, end of the year, into next year. So we like to give it grace, but that could come up there, and then we'll move it as the time goes on. The floor right now, I would even. Yeah, I'm not keeping this. I would even go like this, because if this falls out, we already know. It's irrelevant. If this falls out, let me move this one over here. We'd come down here initially. And then if that breaks, we'd come all the way down here. So, but you don't want to come down there. You want, the more this forms like this, you want this to be a rising triangle. So like you're just continuing to make new gains, retapping the support, you merge in on a rising triangle, and then boom, you power out of here to all-time levels out of discovery. And because we've already dumped down and retapped the breakout point, it is good. We like that. We would like 3.23 now to be the floor and not have to come down, and let's just put it underneath so you can see it more. 255. But we've already done it. We've already come down here and held it, which is where this formed. And what do you guys think? Do you think that's a rising wedge or a rising triangle with what's formed? Just out of curiosity. Absolutely, Mrs. Stott. That was just something they had to do. Don't worry, she got paid very nicely while I doubt she even spent a day in jail. They show you them walking in the front door as they exit out the back door. No joke. Don't believe everything you see on TV. She looked awfully well for just sitting in prison for all that time, didn't she? To me, it looks like it's developing into a rising triangle. The initial was more of a rising wedge, which is what led us to believe we were going to dump down. But I don't know. It almost looks like it formed a rising triangle. And if that's the case, that's a very bullish consolidation. And obviously, if you pull this out, you can see how this would, in the future, how this would gap into it, which gives you an apex somewhere around June of next year if it stays within it. Now, if it breaks out, it's got different targets on a breakout or breakdown, but we'll see. Syrian says, one of my friends who is a Bitcoin maxi trader and known for 7 years said that the ISO are still a smart buy long-term despite market. Absolutely. Oh, that's why I say, Calvin, I'm not going to, we'll let the market decide what that ends up being, but if it plays out as a rising triangle, it's extremely bullish. If it is a rising wedge, because it is, you could technically tighten it, we could say, then it's bearish. So we'll see which proximity it takes. But man, it's in the up direction too, because it's giving us higher high, higher high, higher high, higher low, higher low. And like you could go here, I suppose, but that doesn't make any sense because that wasn't the push up. It never made a new high. And then you can clearly see how it wicked above, and this was the consolidation. It never actually came back to support and made its new support, or it didn't have enough steam to hit resistance. And came all the way back down to its first support. Came back up. Not enough strength here again. Hey, we thought so. But with the evidence that we were given, It actually wasn't meant to be until here, which makes even more sense. So that rising wedge I had filled out, but I think it formed a. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's been a long live so far. Well, not a long, but it's been over an hour. I do want to do another. Oh, I didn't realize Ethereum bounced back over 4,000. I was gonna say Ethereum's under 4,000, so we'll see exactly the. Man, it is so fascinating, though. It's just fascinating how many people are losing favor now. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens here. The more this drops and the more people that lose their minds, the happier. Remember, we've already had a floor so far, 7.9 on IOTA. We'll call it $1.37-ish for XRP. Now, some exchanges were $1.18. One was 78. We had Ethereum down to 3,300. So, yeah, you can expect those crawbacks. Maybe not in complete fulfillment, but I don't know. There's too many people that are too negative now, too bearish. There's no liquidity down there to fall further than where we have. And there's a lot of top-end liquidity that they could just simply liquidate the 51 or 2% of the shorts and grab all that topside liquidity compared to the longs. Clearly, the longs, there's more confidence, dollar value, but they haven't. I don't know. This just doesn't make any sense anymore to go down and liquidate the longs when they've already cleared them all out. They haven't cleared out all the shorts. It makes perfect sense to go up there and clear it when everybody's saying the opposite. When sentiment is in fear, drag it down a little bit. And then when nobody's even paying attention, maybe after the weekend and things like that. Can XRP get to $18 in the next 2 years? Probably not. Because it has to start after this cycle. It's going to have to start a fresh bear market to get that liquidity. So if it doesn't break out to 6 something now, it may never get to 18. That's the silver lining here. Everybody needs to realize. If this doesn't pan out the way we've been watching and thinking it would for the last 7 years, we're in some big ass trouble. And that is when the event comes. Our fear of we're 90% overinflated still in crypto. I'm serious. If that's the case, we're 90% overinflated, which means everything you see in front of you dropped down 9 out of 10 cents. Which means Bitcoin should be at 11,000. XRP should be at 24 cents. IOTA should be at 1.4 cents. Algo at 2 cents. VChain at 0.02. HBAR at 1.8 cents. XDC at 0.006. Dent at 0.00004. CRO at 1.6. XPR at 0.00004. Linea at 0.00 or 0.001. Band at 5.6 cents. Like, is that the numbers we're talking about? Because if this doesn't happen, that's where we're going. Remember, what doesn't go up comes down. Yep. Well, that's the thing. Bitcoin liquidity, and I don't think we're just going to go under 1,000 now. There's too much. There's still too much slobber knocking that can go on, and money that can be moved still. What I think is happening is we're flipping from tightening to a big amount of quantitative easing. We're setting up for these big rate cuts that are going to happen most likely month after month. And as time goes on, it's not that our risk assets are going up in value. It's the US dollar continues to get more diminished and more diminished and more diminished. And the prices inevitably have to go up in time. Now, while we're watching all of this happen, what have I been saying about the miners? What have I been saying about gold and silver? You know, it's just, we can feed off of 2 different sectors at once, which you should. Because they're the opposites attract. Because gold, silver, and commodities can be risk on and off, risk averse, risk on averse, and risk off. So it can be averse to both cycles. Crypto is only risk off. It's not, or risk off asset, or risk on. It's the biggest risk on asset of all times. So in a risk-off environment, you see this all the time because people are going to siphon it all out for this side. And when inflation's going out the yin-yang, this side just keeps moving up more and more. And then people are like, are you afraid of a 20% drop? What do you mean after a 150% move? I would love a 20% drop. I would love to see, like we seen Hekla, how it went. I would just love, once, like, if Pan America went from 41 to 34, everybody would get scared. I would be like, oh my God, thank you. And that's what happened before this latest move up. It hit 40, 41, and then it dropped right back down. You know, it had a few bad days. But that's what you want to see. You want to see these hyper movements, and then they just come back down to the bottom. And then they go up to 41 almost and come right back. Actually, I think it went from 41 to 38 this time. Yeah. And now it's pushed back up. We're getting to these higher boundaries here. And once it breaks through this, and it's early right now, nonetheless. It might be early. But once it, I mean, it's early only in the sense of the way the chart is set up. Because you could very easily start to say, well, we're creating a different dynamic here. And you could certainly change this whole appeal here. So, you know, there's other ways to look at this too. Like the uptrend started from farther back. Like you could be like, well, technically, Tom, you know, I could go all the way back here and I could make a case that we were starting an uptrend like this and it just fell out for a minute. And I can understand that as well because it all makes sense. Like we got into a bear market because of the pandemic and all that stuff. And it allowed us even more time. So now you start looking at this. Doesn't it look a little more appealing even? So I'm going to continue to push that sector. And with the cup and handle, the all-time cup and handle on gold and on silver, and I've talked crypto for over an hour, so, you know, I'm going to give a couple minutes here. One, because I'm trying to kill another 27 minutes so I can eat my protein and stuff. I'll make my own little protein with my protein isolate, the wheat isolate. With it, there's nothing in it. It's unflavored. There's no sugars, lower carbs, but I mix it also with peanut butter powder and my essential minerals. It's like a collagen peptide, but it has your minerals, yada, yada. But I fast 16 hours a day. So I've already worked out, walked, lifted, but I can't eat until noon. So this is my biggest thing throughout the day. It's like starvation. But it's not starvation. It's your body just fighting off the bad stuff. Anyhow, this sector, because silver is still undervalued. Once we break out of this cup and handle, initial target is going to get you somewhere, and I've been pushing 55, where I thought it would go to 55.64 out of that initial break, even though it's above where it says the resistance, that still was the upside projection out of the consolidation, the short one. But in time, this should very easily get up to 93.61, and that's not an all-time target. That's just the target out of the cup and handle. Once you get on top of that, it changes. Because I think it's going to go to several $100s an ounce as we progress here. Massively overbought in the monthly, massively overbought in the weekly, massively overbought in the daily. 4 hourly still got room to run. But you're going to see this overbought condition, which could be for years. Everybody keeps thinking it's going to go down, and they sold at 40 and 50 for the same look and overbought. But unfortunately, the US dollar is going to keep dropping. It's overvalued. With inflation, with money printing, and with quantitative easing and rate cuts, gold has no choice but to go up with silver. No choice. No choice. I know, Mr. Stott, it blows my mind too. It's awesome though. It's a crazy, crazy world. But what's going to happen is we're going to get these quick drops. Gold did a couple $100 drop the other day, or not the other day. There was a where was that moment? And it's going to do it again. Look, we've gone from, let's see what this drop's been so far. 42.17. This isn't a big drop. So it's come down 0.75% from here. But from this peak, it was down 1.2% or $53. It went back to 4,161. That's not a very big drop. I still would like to see my reconsolidation at this level that I never got yet. We got a small consolidation, but I've also got something else drawn for gold. I think it could be this lower boundary, but it's starting to form a new uptrend. Now, is it starting to form another one and another one? Like, we're going to get to a series of, we haven't, oh boy, now we got to the next. And then the next. Because this is where conceivably you could have thought that maybe we were going to hit a rejection here, but now it pushed itself way back over. Maybe it'll retest it at around 41. Who knows? But there's still so much room to go in all of this, it's scary. Forgive my misunderstanding, but doesn't high gold and silver mean bad for crypto though? No. No, because remember, gold and silver is risk on and off. You can have it in times of both. But crypto, we're only going to be in a risk off environment going forward. So what you're going to see, it's going to appear as a risk on when they inject capital. So it's going to be more risk on because there's going to be free money floating around. But no, there is no direct correlation. Crypto is not a store of value, so it doesn't have a correlation. Yeah, when money gets put into safe money, or safe, like money finds yield into the safer asset, because people are going risk averse, and they want to be risk off, yeah, it's bad for crypto. Because you're getting all this minor commodity, or all this movement. Ask yourself, I'm being serious. It's just two different sectors. The people playing commodities since January are saying, why would anybody buy crypto? I've seen it do nothing but go down since January, while our mining stocks have done nothing but go up since January. You know, so some people think when you play gold and silver, there's nothing else to play besides the precious metal. That's so wrong. It's like some people think there's only Bitcoin and Ethereum to play, which is also so wrong. You got the altcoins, which are like the miners. Just think of Bitcoin and Ethereum running the show, and then you got all the rest going out there to do the job like the miners. Gold, you know, it's projected and pegged because of gold and silver, and the miners are feasting off of those prices. Just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, the altcoins are feasting off of those prices. It's the same thing in just different sector. Same thing with oil. You got the oil exploration companies that are looking for gas and oil, and then you've got the actual gas, the ones who are producing it and mining it, and the workers and the companies and Shell and all these other shitholes. But they're all in the same process, so they're all feeding off the price of oil and gas. It's just different sectors. Just like commodities doesn't end there. You can buy sugar, you can buy grain, you can buy those are commodities too. But we're talking about a metal commodity. It's still a commodity, and those prices will go up. It's just not the same kind. I would love to see Dolly Varden finally take out 5 and stay above. Once it takes out 5 and stays above, it's going to start pushing that 650. It's very close to having a nice push, but the market, because of where it's at, it's giving it cause for, hey, are we going to continue going up? This is one of my most skeptical ones, which is why it was one of my last ones. Well, it was the last one I bought, because you go down the list, but that's my most skeptical one. It's crazy that all this price has shifted. Like, look, Hecla Mining now is more valuable, way more than Fortuna. I like to keep them in order for pricing purposes, because I like them to compete against each other. But Hecla and First Majestic are having a hell of a battle here. Big bear battles. And as these earnings and stuff come out for these miners, I know we got some earnings coming out soon. I can't wait for B2 Gold's earnings. November, the earnings. Ooh, buddy. Oh, Lord have mercy. And then you get a dividend every few months as well. Our last one was a shit one. I mean, it's not like it used to be. Hey, B2 Gold's up to 563 now. Remember when we were waiting when the price was cheap? But it was paying 0.4. I think it got a little bit higher early on. But we're talking more like January-ish. It paid us 0.4 to wait in it. Then March 0.2. So it's paying you a consistent dividend. It's not much, but it's a dividend. But yeah, that's basically what I got, everybody. I'll be back later. And one last time, that liquidity map on the monthly is just gone. There's no liquidity. It's all gone below. There's no liquidity below. It's as black as I've ever seen it with no volume or no liquidity there. It's insane. Insane. A troy ounce of silver Scooby-Doo coin. Excellent, John. A collectible, only 1,000 minted. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't usually buy the special coins, but I do have a couple. I buy Dolly Varden. You can buy it, like I use the JP Morgan trading app. You have to have a Chase account to have that. But you can also buy it on like Charles Schwab. You can buy it on all the main brokers. All the main brokers. DVG. D. Rojas, welcome in and thanks for being in town for 1 month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. But yeah, that's how it looks. It's not just XRP, it's also Bitcoin. But I gotta go. I've been on for a while. Next, maybe the next live we'll get new members of Tom's Army, as we only had 5 gifted subs by me. But I like it that way sometimes. So all the liquidity's above. Nothing below, really. We got small amounts here as we can melt down a little bit, but there's nothing below.